It is Tuesday night, and it is our last episode of 2023. It is hard to believe it has been almost a year since we started this podcast, but tonight is the night that you want to be here. We're going to talk about anything and everything that happened in the year 2000, and it's not just me. It's my good friend, John Tedesco, live from New York, and he is here on the Tile Happy Hour, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, everybody. And also, hello, John.
What's up, Craig? Hey, I got a little technical problem here.
What's that? Tell me.
I actually have both audios coming through with a 2-second delay, so it is wonky.
Okay. And the reason John is having those issues is because we are trying to stream live on Instagram. So, John, the only way I know to do that is if I don't know. Somehow you have to mute one and not the other. And that is, I'm not sure how to do that because I'm using headphones and a true podcast professional. I'm not sure how you do that and how that happens. If anybody out there in podcast world knows how to use this Instagram living, you can jump in on the comments and let us know. John, worst case scenario, you're just going to have to stop your Instagram live feed. And now you have your mic muted. So it is.
All righty. I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Did you get it fixed?
Yeah, I got it fixed. So welcome to the Tile Happy Hour, everybody. That was a great 40th episode beginning. I love it.
Yeah, it's nothing like jumping in on our last episode of the year with technical difficulties. It happens. This is live TV or internet. I don't know, whatever you call it. But yeah, so John, it was weird. We were so excited that StreamYard announced the addition to Instagram, because I know you have a big Instagram following, and so we've been kind of working through it, but didn't have any way to test it. Or actually, let's tell the truth, John. We didn't take time to test it. We just figured we were going to let it fly live. And so that's what happened. So, John, welcome. And I hope the echoes have not caused the voices in your head to act up. How is it? Is it cold up there? Because it is freezing here. I am actually at the coast broadcasting live about 100 feet from the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, well, it's pretty a little cool here in New York, but we got through we had a lot of rain and wind the last few days, so everything has calmed down here in New York, and we're on the holiday home stretch here, right? Episode 40, December, and it's just cranking along, and it's been good. It's been a great year, and we've had a lot happen this year, right?
Man, it has been nuts. It's hard to believe we've done 40 episodes, and I was going back preparing for today, what little bit I do. And, we did only like 3 reruns throughout the whole year, which I feel like that's pretty amazing. We started on February, I think 17th, which was national, or it may have been 28th. I can't remember. National Tile Day last year. That was our inaugural episode. That was the episode that got us started. And we've been every week since then. Now, John, you did disappear for a couple episodes, and we had a special guest. And then there was, like I said, only 3 episodes that we did a rebroadcast of some of the Tile Happy Hour greatest hits.
Well, you know what? It just hit me. Like, I forgot that we started it on Fridays.
That's right. We started on Fridays. My wife and I were talking about this earlier today because I went and filmed the sunset. I've started trying to do a little bit of photography just because I like pretty pictures. And
I can see you don't have enough to do at work, so yeah.
Well, I'm on PTO, friend.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right.
It is. The kids are out of school. They don't go back until the 2nd. And I work from home, so it's not like I can get anything done anyway. So we just packed up and headed to the beach. But we started on Fridays at 5 o'clock, which is kind of a traditional happy hour, which is where the name came from. But it seemed like we did a couple of special episodes during the week, and from the feedback we got, seemed like that worked better.
Yeah, it's interesting. So pre Craig, I had done a John to Disco happy hour, right? This was born years ago, and I did it on Fridays, and it was a 1 hour conversation with people, and I did it on Fridays, and it worked well. But
yeah,
a lot of people who couldn't make the time. It happened to be the only day that I thought I could probably do it in the evening. And then when you and I got together to kind of come up with this concept to do it as a co-hosting the podcast together, we said, let's give Friday a shot. And we gave a lot of reasons why Friday made sense, right? People are winding down and we don't want to do it too late. But then we started getting a little itchy.
People drink on Fridays.
That's true. So, but it turned out that then summer was approaching and we were getting a little itchy. Like, this is crazy. Friday, you want to wind down, you want to go out, go to the beach, go out to dinner or whatever. So, and didn't we do a test show on a Tuesday night or something like that, and went really well?
We did. We did a short little test show, and yes, Keith Stevens, pretend time off. We are true tile professionals. We never have a day off.
That's true.
But yeah, that was the thing we did. Number one, we were new to this, and we've watched a lot of podcasts, but actually doing one. So we said, well, let's just do like introduction to who we are. And I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And we had not a ton of people, but good traffic, people coming in and seeing it. And that kind of stuck in our mind. And when summer came around, you're right. We started thinking about when everybody travels. Let's at least for the summer, try it on a weekend night and see if that works well. And we know people are probably not planning their nights around our conversations, but maybe somebody is.
Well, you know what? There's no night that's good for everybody. And when I had done that kind of test on my own years ago, it was just a Facebook Live. There was no technology off my cell phone on a tripod and no graphics, nothing like that. It was just literally a Facebook Live. And that had its challenges because that was always quirky and weird.
Yeah. And we're just tile nerds. And now we have cameras and lights and software. And it's strange to me.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is good. So 40th episode. We'd like to welcome you to the Tile Happy Hour. This is John Tedisco, my co-host Craig Cahoon. We're just here to talk about the tile, talk about the industry, talk about the people in this industry. You, people who are watching, you're all important to us. We want to know where you're watching from. We want to know, what's your favorite episode that you just, can't live without seeing a rerun of it? Which episodes do you really think you want to have in the future? Any content or guests? Speaking of guests, we have a great lineup for 2024. We actually had a bunch of people that we were kind of queuing up for this year, but then it got into the holidays and we're like, you know what, let's just roll the year out with the guests that we had and kind of like queue people up for next year. And so the show's going to be mixed. There's going to be some with guests, some without guests, but we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of shows without any guests, and it was great. A lot of
absolutely. And John's talking to those of you watching live, but you may not be watching us live. You may be watching on a playback, and that's where we get a lot of our views. And John, I'll ask you in a minute to start thinking about it. What episode got the most traction? And but right now we're broadcasting live. Just added Instagram Live, so if you're watching on Instagram, that's exciting. But we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube is probably my biggest platform, even on X, formerly Twitter. And I think that's it. And so if you're watching on a repeat, please still leave us a comment. I tell you, there's been a lot of a ramp up in the comments lately, and that is truly exciting. for me, because I like hearing what's going on in the industry, hearing from colleagues, and also hearing some questions from out there in the field.
You know what? We had a Tile Bar had our company holiday party, and you came down up. Where you come from? You came up to
I came up,
and it was good. I had a lot of our colleagues come up and comment that I had no idea that they watched. I don't know if they're watching live or not, but I got a bunch of comments from people, and it was good to hear that they were watching and they really enjoyed the content of the show, and keeps us going, because it is a lot of work, from just the commitment of the time, the technology, setting up, the studio here. You're on vacation, you had to set up a temporary studio. I got my setup here. So it's encouraging. It's fun. Look, if we didn't love what we do, we wouldn't be doing this at all. So
absolutely,
it's your comments, your input, your feedback really keeps us going and really helps us define the next year. Well, what's going to be exciting is, we're going to have one full year of the show, right?
That's right.
So it's going to be good. And we're glad that we're able to do this every week. We've had a couple of live episodes on location, right? We were in Florida. We were in we actually were in Florida twice, right? We broadcast.
We were in Florida twice. My wife was talking about that. Speaking of where people are, Don Hayes, who we're going to talk about you a little bit later. Hey, buddy, good to see you in Nashville, and glad you're jumping in.
Yeah, Don, we'll cue you when we're going to talk about you. You may want to get off.
That's right. And Keith, my good buddy Keith, with Ranyo, is hanging out in Pittsburgh, and Keith says it's cold there. Well, Keith, I am probably about 4 miles away from your place at the coast, and it's cold here too. So
yeah, it is.
So John, let's start, and everybody that's out there watching, Keith, Don, and Dan, who Dan provided the whiskey for tonight.
Oh, really?
And I'm going to ask you, John, but I'm going to ask everybody out there, what was your favorite topic throughout the year? So we did 40 episodes, and we covered all ranges from showroom stuff to new releases to technical aspects. John, and everybody listening, drop in the comments. What was your favorite episode? What one, or if a couple of them stuck out? John, I want to get your idea of one.
I'm gonna premise it with not my favorite episode, but one of my favorite episodes, because they're all pretty interesting. I'm torn between two.
Okay.
Should I tell you which two, or just pick one?
Yeah. So we'll start with one, and and then maybe I'll tell you mine, and then we'll go to your other one.
All right. So the history of tile. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And this is where my wife, I lose her every time. It's so nerdy, and talking about the tile history. Who studies that? I mean, okay. You're only a little bit of a nerd if you're watching World War II videos.
Who wouldn't be interested in that? I don't understand. What's wrong with people?
That was
like
cool.
The history of paper clips. I mean, it's the history of tile. Tile. I mean, tile is a building form. It was a work. It was parts of artwork, right? And
the greatest building material. I claim that.
Yeah. No, really. I mean, so there's so much history to it, and what's really cool about it, there's examples of it from thousands of years ago that we could still being unearthed. And and we say history of tile, I kind of include like marble mosaics in that category, like handmade mosaics. So marble, Zili tiles, original like terracottas, terrazzo type materials.
Yeah.
And it's evolved and progressed from being really just a good building material, and also a forum to display or create artwork in colors that you couldn't necessarily do. And they have frescoes that are painted, but that doesn't last. So right. Let's talk about the history of tile again tonight. Let's do it.
Well, I think what I loved about that episode is that we also dug into the history of the installation and how that has changed over the years. and being the technical nerd and the contractor in this duo, I love that. And Rick Crane, you're right. It needs to be a college elective. I don't know if 3 credits is enough. I think it should be a semester commitment.
Yeah, basket weaving and history of tile.
That's right.
Of choice.
That's right.
I wonder where Rick is watching from tonight. It could be in some exotic place, traveling the world. We'll see.
Hopefully we'll see. If you're posting comments on Instagram, not sure that we can get them there. I've been reading some forums, so we'll respond to them later. But I am currently getting stuff. A lot of people watching on LinkedIn right now.
Cool. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm making a prediction that I am not live on Instagram, because the issue I had before was because I was on Instagram and I had to click out of something, and I think I clicked out of it. But
okay, well,
we'll figure it out. We're gonna have gold.
If you're watching John on Instagram and it all of a sudden went blank, it wasn't an EMP. John's okay. Just tune over to another channel.
Exactly.
Rick is watching from his basement.
Oh, okay. It's an undisclosed location.
In the
bunkers of New Jersey.
Me, there's so many of them that are favorite, and we talked off air. One of the premises to us answering this question was we weren't going to choose any with a guess, because we didn't want to show favorites, because we love them all the same. So
yeah, Rick actually offered me like $8 to say that his episode was the best, but I'm not.
He only offered me 4.
Yeah, well,
But no, and I'm not sucking up to Tile Bar by any stretch of the imagination. But my favorite episode, we did 2 episodes back to back based on questions from either the internet, the World Wide Web, or our clients. And that's what I do day in and day out. I get these questions, and I loved hearing your perspective on the stuff that I do every day, because it helps me to try to look at it from a different perspective, because I'm a contractor. I always look at stuff from the contracting perspective and try to answer the questions that way. So what I loved about that show, or actually those 2 shows that were kind of back to back, where we were answering the questions, and I would ask you the questions, you would answer it your way, because you know a lot about technical stuff.
I'm usually right. That's why you ask me.
Yeah, you're usually right. But I got to get your perspective of
yeah, that was fun.
Of that, and seeing how you would answer that question. It just help me be better at what I do.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'd like to do more of that.
Don says he's in for $10 for him to be the favorite episode.
All right.
I don't know if that means 10 for both of us, or we have to split it. Hey Ron, good to see you. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. So what do you remember about the Q&A episode?
I like the fact that it made us think, right? So someone would have a question, and sometimes the answer is clear cut. Sometimes it wasn't.
Right.
And sometimes there was maybe more than one right answer, because when you're doing an installation, right, sometimes there's 2 ways of doing something.
Yeah.
So some of it was perspective and our, history. But a lot of times we were locked in on the same answer. So I thought that was pretty cool. The universal language of tile and tile installation. It was just beautiful.
Well, what I liked about those 2 episodes was that the questions that I brought to the table were common questions that are asked every day in the industry. So I think I think that is a service to all those out there that may be looking for an answer. I get the question all the time. What size grout joints should I use for this 24 by 48 tile? And that, us bringing that up on this platform allows it to be out there in the webosphere, the metaverse, for people to find conversation about grout joint sizes and what thin set to use for a certain type of tile, or what grout to use for a certain type of tile. And so that's what I love about it, is really the opportunity for those 2 episodes to serve the community.
Right. And it's that typical saying where if you have that question, probably somebody else has that question. And if
Absolutely.
so if someone asks that and we have an answer to it, it's answering that person's direct question, but could be 100 other people that had that on mind or didn't have it on mind, but were able to absorb it and say, "Oh, wow, okay, cool."
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
Yeah. I
sanded
file
grout,
that away.
yeah, sanded grout, non-sanded grout, sizing of joints, slip resistance, all that good stuff. And
Got everything that
say
you
the
just said. I got all those questions today
r-
on my
r-
pretend time off.
really? Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
You-
Keith is up in the ante to drinks at Pete's Tavern. I don't know what Pete's Tavern is. So if we,
Let's do it.
and I hope all the guests that are watching tonight know that there's not a prize for being for being the one.
Yeah,
Unless
well,
John, you want to give them your Tile of the World T-shirt, which is pretty awesome.
I think so. So yeah, Keith's offer is though it's tonight only.
Yeah, that's right. Tonight only. That you're
Tonight,
right.
when they close at midnight. Yeah, let's when you're in New York, let's do it. Love to. So did you say Webosphere before?
Webosphere. Yeah. Yeah. That is an official Tile Happy Hour term. I don't know if this will fit on the screen, and I haven't read it yet, but Steve Barker wrote us a poem.
Oh my God. Well, I didn't read it yet. But I have a feeling AI had something to do with this, but let's.
Okay. You read it to us, John.
Here is a poem about the history of tiles and tile installation. Oh, by ChatGPT. I know, Steve. From ancient halls to modern adobes, tile tell tales in vibrant codes. Ceramic whispers from time of old, mosaics of stories in colors bold. Romans crafted floors with careful grace, interlocking stories, each space a trace. In Byzantine domes, a shimmering dance, the tiles entwined a visual romance. Islamic art, a geometric embrace. Tiles tessellate, creating sacred space. Renaissance courts adorned with flair. And I can't read the rest because it's cut off.
It's not there. Yeah, that's right. Hey, thanks, Steve, for that. Yeah, that's the history of tile in.
I'm gonna shed a tear. That was beautiful. Steve.
That was beautiful. That should probably go on the Tile Happy Hour website. I think.
I appreciate that input. And yeah, was I doing that in the tone of Santa Claus or something like with Santa Claus?
I think it was kind of like an Italian Santa Claus.
There you go. Exactly.
Now, John, we'll talk about our guests and the ones that our guests are on coming soon in a minute. But I do want to apologize. You're one of the few, we all have those friends that we send memes to, and you are one of 4. And I sent you a meme the other day about the Olive Garden and how it was, I forgot how it went, but how disappointing.
It had a Christmas tree. It had like an 8-year-old kid, and he had a gift card in his hand. He was crying, and it said, "Italian families give kids that are bad instead of coal. They give them gift cards to Olive Garden." That was beautiful.
I must confess, that night my daughter said, "I really want to go to Olive Garden," and I took her. So I apologize for that.
All right. Well, we're gonna absolve you.
Okay.
By just randomly out of the blue promoting my friend Gianni Cinelli's restaurant.
Yes.
Right.
Vivo.
He's in Raleigh. How far is he from you?
If it's the same restaurant, I know. I did the tile in the original Vivo restaurant, and I think it's moved. And this was in North Hills, and it was a neat installation because it was kind of some custom stuff. It was really quaint place. I did have lunch there, and but I think it's moved. So I don't know if it changed ownership or all that stuff. I'll figure that out, and I'll take my daughter and try to introduce her to some real Italian food.
Yes,
but I think Rick Crane.
We need an intervention here.
Endless breadsticks is all Rick Crane has to say. His endless breadsticks.
I'm gonna keep this very vague. But next time you see an Olive Garden commercial, and they show the breadsticks, it's very weird. They're very weird looking, those breadsticks, and I'll just keep it at that. It's just odd, and once you get that in your head, you can't undo it. But it's a family show, so I'm not going to say.
That's right. It's a family.
What male organ it may look like. So yeah.
Okay, that's good enough. So John, we came up with this. Well, you came up with this idea and asked me to participate in the Tile Happy Hour.
Yes.
And I guess we probably started talking about it this time last year.
This is true.
Well, this time 2022.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And we decided and kind of did some pre-planning, talked about it and figured out what we're going to do, and decided to start it on February. Well, when I came on to Tile Bar, one of the things that was under my umbrella was to partner with a setting material manufacturer that could give us what we need to round out everything online and in sales so that we can provide the full package. Well, I've been a Laticrete customer for many, many years, and I've used everything under the sun, nothing bad to say about any of them, but Laticrete's always been the partner I chose to use. And so when I came on, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And we got Laticrete on board, and it's been going strong. I think we probably, I don't know, Ron, if you're still out there, we probably sell more white grout than anybody in the world. I don't know. I just keep seeing truckloads of white grout. I don't know if we sell anything else, but I know we sell white grout. So when we started talking about the podcast, I knew I wanted Laticrete to be a part of it. And our first guest was Ron Nash. He so graciously, he's such a busy guy. He is the president of Laticrete, and he does a lot for the industry. And I've known him before he was a president. I think we met in San Antonio or some years ago. And so he was one of the first ones I reached out to and said, hey, would you jump on the podcast with us? We just and we were nobody at that time. I don't even remember. I think we had done coverings before then. And he so graciously said yeah. And so he was our first guest. And we've known from doing this over the last few years that when we have guests on, the conversation is really great and it adds another perspective. And we don't always talk about tile.
It's true. Well, you mentioned other brands, right? Anybody who's in business has to be good, what they do. But where Laticrete is, they are originators. They're like the OG for a lot of products, a lot of techniques that were developed because of their innovative products. And Ron himself and people that came before him really are pioneers in the tile industry by creating, it's not like, okay, we make nails and let's make a nail that's a little stronger. They came up with, different ways of installing different things, and mainly because, or partly because the tile industry was evolving. So mosaics, porcelain, ceramic, glass, right? Small sizes, big sizes, long, narrow pieces that have warps to them, that's warped. So it's really a story that can be told, that this installation, this company that makes installation products really help, develop the industry. It's kind of like what came first too, right? Maybe Laticrete came up with something that was really cool, and manufacturers like, wow, we can make a tile that will have less technical issues. So we like to, our hats off to Laticrete, to Ron, to the whole team. We're really proud to sell and offer the products to our nationwide customer base. And that was a great episode. And
and we're expanding our offering. I know I've got a lot of product launches coming up this year. I did pull a clip. You want to see a clip?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know what's going to happen to your audio, so just be ready.
One of them is 3D printing of building materials, architectural features, and also in some cases complete and whole buildings. Right. We have a mortar. We have a 3D printing mortar. Basically, like, think of it like the ink for the inkjet printer.
Yeah.
So we make 3D printed mortar, and we have been part of some really historic projects. We've The largest residence in the world right now is done in outside of Dubai, actually. A prince decided he wanted to build the largest, 3D printed residence, and they did.
Damn, I wanted to do that.
John, come on. You're too tight. You won't spend that money. Yeah. Speaking of, innovation in the 3D printing business, that is so cool. I love that. I love that part of the industry.
That's exactly what I was kind of inferring, right? Or related to that. Here is there's a technology, 3D printing, and them doing, building plastic things. And then here is Laticrete coming up with, well, let's stick some cementitious stuff in there, and figure out. And so that was pretty cool. And I think in a year or two from now, or 3 years from now, or whatever, we're going to look back at that episode, and it's going to be like us, like when you see those old broadcasts of people on the news saying, so what is the interweb? How do you get on the
exactly?
That's what that all about.
That'll be what it is. And you're right, Keith. Thanks for that. I've heard. I don't know if I've heard David say that, but I've heard David has said that. So that's awesome. Well, now that we're kind of talking, and Ron, I know you're listening. Thanks for doing that. We appreciate you being there. And there's no because of Laticrete and who they are, John, that is our most watched episode.
Oh, I did not know that. Cool.
You never watch the analytics. Come on. But yes, yeah. That is our most watched episode. I guess I should have ended with that, but anyway.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. So maybe let's do a redo in 2024, perhaps.
Yeah. So that Ron was our first guest, right?
So what you're saying is downhill from there. Is kind of what you're saying on viewership.
Yeah, it was down here from there. What is the next guest you remember? I think I know who it is. Do you know?
I'm thinking Kristen Coleman and Filippo Manuzzo, I think it is.
That was actually at Coverings. I think.
I'm sorry. You meant what was next in order?
Yeah, well, no, we didn't mention Kristen and Filippo. So tell me about that was an awesome episode just because of what it was.
Yeah, it was a big event for us because when we started the idea of doing this podcast and also, kind of orchestrating it in a professional manner, getting all the technology set up and not just do a Facebook Live. And our goal was to potentially be invited to the Coverings podcast studio for 2024. And we had just come out with, and next thing you know, they invited us and we were just launching. We're like, wow, this is great. So it was an excitement for that. It was our first time doing, broadcast outside of our studios. And two really important guests. Kristen is a principal in Novita Communications, which is headed by Christina Badi, and just icons in the industry. Christine has been around for many decades and involved in really bringing this SOP Australia, the Italian industry success is partially to be credited to the work of Christine and her work at the Italian Trade Commission years ago, and Kristen is now part of that. So that was great.
And then, let me, you tell me if I'm wrong, but that partnership is one of the biggest sponsors of Coverings, correct?
Yeah. So Coverings has Tiles of Spain, then the SOP Australia, the Italian factories, and it's TCA and CTDA, and maybe one or two other associations. So there's 5 or 6 trade associations that are, I guess they all mutually own the show to whatever legally. Okay. I don't know how it works, but I think it's all their show. And then Filippo was great because just loved to hear, him being the executive he is at Sant'Agostino, and he really knew his stuff. And I really loved his conversation about sustainability of tile, because tile has been a sustainable product before sustainable was even a twinkle in anyone's eye, right?
That's right. Before it was popular.
Right, when you get a Big Mac, like for the family, you get a bag with like 10,000 styrofoam packages and all
That's
this
right.
extra stuff. That was tile, because tile is, what is tile? It's clay, water, and fire, right? And and he did talk about the energy, because then we were kind of on the Ukraine, before the Ukraine war, but the
Yeah.
Ukraine energy crisis, and
Right.
a lot of, we all learned for the first time that a lot of the gas, the natural gas that fueled the furnaces in Italy and Germany and Spain for firing up the kilns for tile, came from Ukraine. And then
That's right.
so that was a good discussion. But
Yeah.
he said, yes, tile, you need to bring it up to 2,200 degrees. Maybe he talked in Celsius, 1,000 degrees Celsius, whatever it was.
Don't get me doing math.
But he did say something. This is not even going to paraphrase because it's going to be so far off. But what he was trying to say was, yes, you need a lot of energy, but it's 20 minutes of energy, whatever that short period of time,
Right.
to create a product that's going to last
A
hundreds of years.
lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that was a great experience. And that was episode number 8.
Okay.
So that was our episode number 8. And this year, we got our fingers crossed. We have been invited back. John just made that clear. So I look forward to seeing everybody at Coverings in Atlanta in April. And I think we're going to be able to actually broadcast it live. Last year we had to record it, and the frustration of trying to get it from recording to the broadcast was it probably caused some ulcers. But then Ron, who just agreed to be on next year. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate that. Ron was episode 14.
Okay, cool.
So it was just after we had gotten back. That's probably why he said yes. He's like, well, these guys are at Coverings, so they can't be too crazy. But, their security and background check wasn't that great. So anyway, then next, I think, and I don't have it listed correctly on my sheet, but I think next was St. Patrick's Day. Do you remember what we did on St. Patrick's Day?
I don't.
Come on.
I'm going to take a guess. We talked about green tile.
No. We did I had green beer that day, but that was when we introduced the world, or the Tile Happy Hour world, to Jeremy Solomon.
Oh, that is correct. That was a great episode. Yeah. So
even though we're tile nerds, we had to bring in some LVT, because it is a significant part of the flooring industry. And Jeremy is part of our team at Tile Bar, and what better way to introduce the tile world to LVT than through this executive. Jeremy has got many years of knowledge of LVT, and I thought that was a great episode. And
that was good. You know what? He has the coolest title in the company. He's the EVP of LVT.
That's a lot of letters. I like that.
Yeah, no, but it rhymes. It's kind of catchy. Yeah, so me coming from tile background, stone background, the same with you, to say, so LVT, luxury vinyl tile. So in my family, the word luxury and vinyl were never allowed to be spoken.
Never used together. Yeah, that's
so we
right.
couldn't go to Olive Garden and speak about LVT. It was just.
Do you think Olive Garden uses LVT?
Probably. A lot of these.
No, I bet it's worse than that. I bet they use carpet.
Yeah, it's probably carpet. Yeah, but so my point is, and was during that show, and Jeremy kind of helped us walk through it. The product has evolved, and it's no longer like a hokey kind of inferior product. It is a great product, and it has its applications. And there are times you absolutely do not want to use LVT. You want to use porcelain. And there are times where you definitely want to use LVT. And it's getting to the point where there are some cases where it depends on the budget. On do you want this to let? We talked about, you know what, Craig? We talked about tile lasting forever. But if you have a retail store or a restaurant, let's say, where you want to change the theme every 8 years,
that's a great product to use, because it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to remove it.
Yeah, you can go over it or remove it, but if you have porcelain, you got to sledgehammer it out. So that was a great episode. Yeah, I forgot that was on St. Patrick's Day.
Yep. What I'm going to keep asking you these questions that you don't know the answer to, so I look smarter than you.
Taking advantage of me. I have no notes and no memory of it.
Do you know who our next guest was?
Oh my God!
And it was only let's see. I'm
going to say Don Hayes.
You would be wrong. You would be wrong. It was another associate that works with us, and to kind of round out the design part of what we do day in and day out. And tile is such a big part of design of your home, of your bathroom, of whatever. Ellie Eisenberg.
About vanities, yes.
Ellie Eisenberg.
That was good. That was a good segue, right? Because Tile Bar is known for tile, and first we started off with glass mosaics, and then porcelain, ceramics, and then vanities and LVT, kind of our categories that people don't think of Tile Bar first, but we're killing it with it. And she's amazing, right?
Yeah. Well, here, let me let her tell you.
What are they looking for? Mm-hmm. And then if we can marry those vanities with tile collections and present it in a way that a customer, because our Tile Bar site is expansive and it's beautiful and we're always looking to optimize content. If a customer can visit our site and feel like they're shopping in a showroom, and they can have the videography and they can have the optimized photography and all of those assets, and say, you know what, here's my tile, I can get samples. Here's my vanities, I can also get samples, bring it together, and they'll have a completely cohesive design from just one stop. So that's our vision and our plan, and that's how we're trying to change the way that people do design and procure vanities. That's
Ellie. That was episode number 22.
Cool. That was good. So,
I thought her part of the episode that kind of really not turned things around, but made things seem like they made sense is it's the whole package. It's the design package. We're not just a distributor.
Things kind of made sense in the world after that. It really did. It was no, it's true. And you know what? Vanities are an interesting category because I have a lot of retail experience in tile before Tile Bar, and vanities have always been and still is a category that's like, you don't say, let's go to the vanity store. Like, there's stores, LVT, there's tile, there's plumbing fixtures. Plumbing fixture companies do, offer vanities. So maybe that's the place. But it's historically been a category that's hard to shop for. And we're changing that. I mean, at that time, she said we had 17, I think, lines. And by the end of the month, we were going to have 19 lines. We're way past that now, and we're doing really well.
I think she was shooting for 40 by the end of the year, right?
Yeah. So now it's the end of the year. We gotta see how
we did.
See how we did. No, but whatever it is, we're going in the right direction. And if we're not at 40, we'll be there.
That's right. Yeah. All right. You know where we go from here?
No.
Episode 26.
So if you look at carbon, that's the current buzzword, embodied carbon in building products, which is really the assessment of how much energy did it take to make the product from the beginning of the mine, say, through manufacturing, through use, through end of life, through disposal into the landfill or recycle.
Is it appropriate at that point to talk about carbon footprint, or is that not the place?
That's a piece of it. So if you look at our carbon footprint, say at Florum, and you divide that by how many square feet of tile we make in a year, that gives us carbon intensity per square foot of tile that goes into your building. So that it's a lot of it's very mathy, but
I was going to say that sounds like a lot of math.
And for that reason, I'm out.
But I hire consultants for the hard part.
Okay.
But so then you end up with that embodied carbon.
What a great conversation with Don. And sustainability is not easy to understand. There's a lot of different factors to it. And I love how he made it seem understandable for a city boy, or not a city boy. Talking to you, I understood it perfectly.
Hillbilly is kind of what you're saying, right?
That's me, not you.
So let's full disclosure. Craig has an outhouse, doesn't have tile in his house at all. He's just aspiring to get.
That's right. Yeah, that's the reason I got the job here. Is I was hoping they'd donate some material, give me some leftovers to tile the outhouse.
Generous, yeah.
But sustainability, I mean, it's we talked about it at coverings. You just mentioned it where Filippo talked about it, and if you want to know about sustainability, I don't know that there's anybody in the country that can lead you through it better than Don can.
Yeah.
And he did that for us on an episode. And I thought that was great because as a contractor, and I said this, and you can go back and watch it, I didn't really believe sustainability was a big deal. It was like, it's just another form to fill out, another heartache for a contractor to try to make work. And Don kind of opened my eyes to a couple of things that I didn't realize.
Yeah. Well, there's a word called greenwashing, right? So when this whole sustainability thing came about, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 10, I'm not sure how long. And everyone was like, cool. We want to be sustainable. What does that mean? I don't know. But it has a sticker that says sustainable on it. And it's kind of like, when you're buying fruit, it says organic. And you're like, is this really organic? But now,
it's like Jim McGavigan says, organic is a grocery term for more expensive.
Right. Exactly. And if there isn't an industry monitoring group, police, if you're selling fruit and you want to sell it for more, let's get those little stickers that say organic and throw it on there. So tile has gone through that phase where people are just throwing out, it's sustainable, it's a green product. And it's not just tile, right? The whole building material world was on this whole sustainable green. So it's green. But then you had to define it because people were abusing it and people were just putting it out there saying it's a green product. And now like, whoa, wait, what does it mean? And then Don's got to come in and be mathy and really confuse us all. But the thing is this, we don't need to understand it all or memorize it all. You just need to know where to go. And like you're dealing with a company like his company, you know that they're sincere about what they do and they have ways to document it, right? And we talked about that in the episodes too, about all these different accrediting agencies, I guess they're called.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, I think you said it great, and I'll say it shorter because my attention span sounds like, find somebody you trust that can explain it to you, and a company you trust that when they print something on the box, it's real.
Got it. I'll take that as a compliment, but I feel like it wasn't. So anyway,
I don't. Let me see. I'm looking through. We may have skipped it, but and I don't have a clip, so I'm not going to surprise you with any more clips. But one of the coolest episodes we did, and it was a technical nightmare. So if you go back and watch it, I apologize. It was my fault. I'm in charge of the technical stuff. John obviously can't even control his Instagram.
I just show up.
But was a conversation with the group in Florida at the lovely Biltmore Hotel and Estates. That was really cool place. I wish, and next year I'll be better prepared.
Yeah, that was great. The venue was great. We had our colleague Carolina on board, and it was good. It wasn't a disaster at all. It was fun. It was a great.
Yeah, the audio was a little weird. The lighting was a little weird, but it was a great conversation about the kind of her area, because that's where we were. We were in Carolina's neck of the woods.
Yeah,
and so she brought in some designers and architects and really talked to the whole group of us, and then we kind of did a little small version of that online for the happy hour.
Yeah.
Thanks, Don. We'll good to see you, and we do hope to see you soon.
He's not necessarily going to bed now. He's just saying in general, like
I think in general, and I don't know that he of course he's not leaving. Who wouldn't watch the end of it? They want to see who wins. I mean, we've already got drinks taken care of. We've got a 10, and I'm not sure what else. So, but we're still taking bribes, I guess. So, and like I said, I don't remember where that fit in, but cruising on down the road, do you remember kind of anything stick out to you after Don and that?
Well, I know we had Rick Crane from Oceanside Glass come in, and
he came because you didn't show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my parole officer said no, it's not happening, and so we'll keep it at that.
And that happened a couple of times because Rick filled in for you, and Rick is awesome with Oceanside Glass and brought us some and helped carry the conversation. I think Rick was our first groupie.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a bunch of people who've been watching the show and commenting, and he's another tile enthusiast or tile nerd or tile geek out there, and he has the entire history of the tile industry, and so that was good. Him come on board, that was good. And
then the other episode that you didn't show up for, that we had an episode. My good friend Keith Stevens, who he and I have been crossing paths and working together and working with each other for a long time. He co-hosted with me. I don't remember when that was, but once again, I guess your parole officer didn't let you out. But Keith, I love Keith's perspective on things because of his journey in the tile industry. It's been almost as long as mine, or I think maybe a little bit longer than mine. And he has, he's got a great perspective on what happens in the industry and I was just honored that he would jump on and co-host with me that night.
It was good to kick back and watch those shows later without me on it, so I could just, sit there and critique you.
Yeah, thanks.
It was good.
My mom still says every time, why does John talk so much? He never lets you talk. But, whose mom's not their biggest fan?
From New York, that's why I can't.
That's right. Well, if you don't have anything else, what I liked was the next one was probably my number 2 favorite, was the show we did in our showroom in New York about 2 months ago.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a great episode. One of the greatest things about it is it's rare that we get to sit in the same room and do the show together. So that's always a little different because the energy is a little different. But also we were in our corporate headquarters. We were in our corporate showroom. And so all of our materials around us. So the things that we talked about, we could actually grab and push. And once again, the camera setup wasn't the greatest, but it was, I thought it went well.
The only thing that was to be desired. Well, let me rephrase this. Here in our studios, we have control, right? And and it's easy. It's very pleasing, because we can just seamlessly go from one screen to the other, and the audio is all set up and all that stuff. So that was the challenge. And that, what, Craig, that will always be the challenge when we're doing, stuff on the road. But that's the fun of it, But that was good to be able to touch and feel. And we had all this product.
The tile, not me. He didn't touch and feel me. Just to be clear.
Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, we can just go and grab a tile and talk about it. Just, that's what we do. That's what we like.
All right. Well, the last thing we're going to talk about before we have to go, because we're running out of time, is the last guest we had on. And this was a surprise to me. Well, no, it wasn't. I think it was a surprise to you. I'm going to call you out a little bit. But this was my friend Josh Anderson, who is a DIY YouTuber and a mechanical engineer. And I know him just in my personal life, but he had a tile project. So my idea was, let's bring him on and kind of critique his plan and what's going on. And I think John said yes because he couldn't come up with a good reason to say no. And John, that episode is on the trajectory to do better than any other episode.
Yeah. So, when I'm going to see a new movie, if I decide that I'm going to see it, I do not look at the reviews. I do not look at the clips or common attractions because I just want to go and experience it. So I'm kind of relating it to that. You've already said, look, this is going to be a good guest. You had the confidence. So I didn't ask any questions. I honestly knew nothing about him. I didn't go to his sites. I just knew he was coming on board. I wanted it to be organic. I wanted it to be fresh for me. So I went in with low expectations in the sense that I didn't know what to expect. but high expectations because I knew that you brought him in. And, once in a while, you're right, Craig. I'll admit it.
Good, good. Well, I think, here's the question I want to pose to the audience: is that I have a feeling that the episode struck a chord with people that may be going through the same thing Josh is, and he was able to tap into not only us, John and I, who I'm a contractor and professional. John's a showroom tile chooser designer professional, but there was also an architect online that reached out and said, "Hey, I'll help him design this." And I think, my wife has spent all day today watching HGTV. People like to see a project and like to see people get what they want. And I feel like maybe in that episode, we touched on that a little bit. And, so my question is, should we do that again? We're going to follow up with Josh. He just chimed in here. Hey, Josh, hope you're doing well. And I hope you're wearing a face mask for the demo. Should we reach out or and find other types to do that maybe once a quarter and break down somebody's installation?
So I think people would be interested in that. We'd love to hear it, but I think the whole Josh story is just in the beginning because Nava Slavin, the designer from New York, offered just because of her good watching the show, and I've known her for years, and we made the connection. Hopefully that connection was made beyond that show, and I think we like to follow that along a little, see how that's going. So we definitely want to do that, I feel. And yeah, I'd love to do more things like that and think out of the box a little. Whatever we do going forward, 2024 is a new year. The Tile Happy Hour is 40 episodes strong, and it's strong because of all of the guests that we mentioned today. And also because now I'd like to give some really strong kudos to Craig. Craig, your technical abilities in putting all this together, setting up, all the items on this program that allow us to broadcast seamlessly with the dual screens going back and forth, creating all the, the promo pieces. So I'd like to thank you. I really appreciate you for doing that.
Well, thanks for saying that. And that's not necessary. I love it. I love this industry, and I love doing the show with you. You bring, you correct my spelling. And so that's what you bring. And most of the things that you read, if that sound like Chat GPT, that's me. If it sounds logical, I can
smell it a mile away. I didn't even have my glasses on, and I knew Steve Barker's was Chat GPT, but that was great.
If it seems logical and pertinent, John wrote it because he's good with words. But yeah, 2023 was great. We got one more episode before the end of the year, and it won't be live. So this will be the last time we see you live. We do have a special message on that next episode, which is going to be a rebroadcast of the Josh of All Trades episode, where we can break down that. It's going to be the day after Christmas. You're going to be full of turkey, stuffing, sugar plums, and turtle cookies, and you can watch Josh's episode and a special message from John and I on the day after Christmas.
So let me interpret that for my New York friends. There's going to be a lot of lasagna, pasta, and some cannolis. So
gotcha. I said, y'all don't eat the same thing we do. You're not having giblets and gravy.
No, sorry.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, I'm glad I don't.
You probably don't. My grandma would be disappointed in me that I'm friends with you. So that's kind of our year in review. It's been a great year. It's been fun. I look forward to next year. I'm super excited about the things that are going on. If you have suggestions, please drop them in the comments. I mean, we're approachable. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you. If you're an industry professional and you want to be a part of the show, reach out to us. We want to have you on and have a conversation.
Yeah, let's just full disclosure. There is a $20 fee to come on our show, so it's kind of steep. So
sure.
Yeah. So what do we have to look forward to? All those things, but on the road for sure, we're going to be broadcasting from Atlanta for sure. We haven't talked about this, but I'm sure we're going to broadcast from Coral Gables again.
Correct.
In July, and maybe we'll have some other opportunities to broadcast from New York City or our Inwood, Long Island headquarters, or our Paramus. I have another. I know where else we may be. It's a possibility we may be in somewhere else in Jersey. What do you think? Kind of south.
Yes, yeah, that's right. We do have some preliminary plans for a special episode. That this is not a Tile Bar show, but we both work for Tile Bar, and Tile Bar is a big part of our lives. And so sometimes we do a show devoted to good things that are happening there. So stay tuned for that. That's an exciting step.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. But most importantly, we'd like to thank you, our viewers, our guests, our friends in the industry, to be part of this community. We're glad to share this information with you. And I'd like to say we've learned a lot from you during this period, and we want to learn more. As Craig would say, we always want to learn more, or something like that. Don't you say something like that? We always want to
let's keep learning together.
Yes, learning together, and something about community and giving back and all that. See, it's eventually sinking in, Craig.
Yeah, but and yes, Keith Stevens, we will broadcast in Bologna. We just need a sponsor. Somebody get us there. We will be. So maybe your company would do that for us. I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, we would. So the answer, I like that. I'm going to read between the lines there. So yes, we will accept your invitation for the all expense paid trip to Bologna, Italy, and we'll provide the entertainment. So
absolutely.
Episode 40. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations to you, Craig. Congratulations to the industry, because it's a great industry. It's a strong industry.
Absolutely.
Something that we're really proud of, because we feel it is, a real legitimate industry that provides a product that has really, really good value. It's something we can all be proud of, and we can all continue to grow. And just like, AI, it keeps growing at a quicker pace, right? Technology improves, the styles change, the materials morph into new materials, installation, advances help us. So it's all cool. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy New Year. This is John Tedisco. I'd like to wish everybody peace, health, and happiness.
And this is Craig. Happy holidays. Hang out with your family, hug them, be with them, enjoy them. Let's keep learning together, tile the world. And the best guest or guest host for 2023 is